but clients can be. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me call to order this meeting of the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. It is Monday, July 8th, 2024, and the time is 3:33. We will start with comments from the public. Any cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, very good. And then we'll now get comments from members of the dais, starting with President Ward.
No comment, thank you.
Commissioner Lambert.
Just hope everyone had a great 4th of July. Thank you.
Commissioner Baduzzi.
No comments, Mayor.
Commissioner Warren.
No comments, thank you.
And Commissioner Fox.
I was sorry to miss the barbecue brews last week, but I heard it was fantastic, so congratulations and thank you to all who were a part of it. That's all I have.
Very good. Mr. Rugg, are there any additions, deletions, reorganization of the agenda?
Yes, Mayor. Since our last meeting, the Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. So I just want to add that the Florida Panthers.
Really?
That's why Commissioner Ward is wearing red.
Does that tie have any significance, Mr. Rugg?
It does.
Yeah,
It's my
okay.
Paul Maurice tie.
Very, very good. Thank you for sharing that information. I don't think we knew that. Okay, we'll now turn to consent calendar, items 6.1 through 6.2. Any questions? Yes, okay, wait a minute. I see something coming down this way. Okay, this is a comment card. Let me see if any members of the dais have any questions on consent. Okay, we do have one card on item 6.2, Bruce Lewis.
Good evening, Bruce Lewis, downtown business owner and representative for Transit Village LLC and related group. We look forward to your discussion and hopeful approval of the extension for the TIF agreement that we have in place with you. We're looking for more time to explore the other possibilities that we have with the county on this project, and with any luck, it'll happen before I turn 97. So, but appreciate your consideration for this item. My thank yous come from Mr. Mike Mazinoff and Andrew Chesnick of the related group. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments on consent? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move items on consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, item 7.1, resolution number 24-27, granting approvals to allow the open space under a ground lease with Navarro Lowry Waterfront LLC, adjacent to 185 North Banyan, to be used during next winter season by the Ben Hotel as an ice rink open to the public.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Kelsey King. I'll be presenting on this item, Resolution 24-27 for the ice rink at the Ben Hotel. So the original ground lease between Navarro Lowry Waterfront LLC and the West Palm Beach CRA we are presenting today. We are presenting 3 proposed amendments to the original agreement. This agreement will allow for an ice rink, an ice skating rink, subject to following terms. Those terms being that the installation and operation of the rink will have to operate between the period of November 1st of this year until March of next year, 2025. Another being that there will be a special provision included within the agreement allowing for equal opportunity pricing, which will be expanded upon by Elena Parolakis, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing for the Ben Hotel. The last one being that the closure of open space hours will be reduced for the calendar years 2024 and 2025. So for the weekends, being Saturday and Sunday, they will be reduced for up to 252 hours annually. The original agreement allowed for 300 hours of closure. Weekdays being Monday through Friday, closure will be up to 168 hours annually. Originally, it was 200 hours. So this reduction will be 16% from the original hours in the First Amendment. That came to because the operation of the ice rink will be 16% of the year, and therefore the reduction will correlate to 16% as well. There will be a further amendment to the declaration of restrictions allowing for an agreement between a tri-party agreement being Navarro-Lowry, the City of West Palm, and the CRA. And there will be a follow-up presentation in the spring of next year by the Ben Hotel. With that, I'm going to invite Elena Parolakis up to continue the presentation.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me today. We had the presentation last month, but I wanted to kind of go over.
Could you just say your name for the
Yes.
record again, please?
Yes, my name is Elena Parolakis. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Ben Hotel.
Thank you.
So we reviewed the presentation last month, but I wanted to come in with a few changes on our plan. Primarily, we wanted to revise the price for the attendees. General admission will be now $15 per person, and we came up with a special discounted price for all students and senior citizens. That way, we provide an equal opportunity for everyone to be able to experience this incredible ice skating rink. Our goal is to come up with sponsorships to offset some of the fixed cost. Our goal is $150,000, and so far we were able to secure 2 verbal commitments, one from the DDA office for the amount of $20,000, and one from Discover the Palm Beaches. They gave us the verbal last week for $2,000. So as soon as we receive your approval, we're gonna really hit the road and get a lot of sponsorships to offset some of that cost. Now, as far as what we're doing at the Ben to attract these sponsorships, we have 13 sales professionals in the sales office, and we will be going after our top 50 local accounts in the local area that we will be asking for sponsorship dollars. We're gonna also go after the top 25 South Florida corporate Marriott clients. And we do have a lot of clients that have either hosted events or groups with us that we will be asking for sponsorship dollars. And of course, we're gonna leverage some of the associations that we all belong between myself and Bernardo Neto, Discover the Palm Beaches, Business Development Board, the 2 chambers, the Chamber of the Palm Beaches and the Palm Beach Chambers, and also the Women's Chamber that we're all members, and FRLA, which is the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association. As far as marketing, we already have a plan in place. As soon as, again, we get your approval, we're gonna engage with our audience on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We're gonna advertise the event on our Ben events site. And we really, we have a plan with our public relations company too that will help us get the word out to, attract as many people as possible. But just keep in mind that this will be the only outdoors ice skating rink in South Florida. The closest one is in Orlando. So we're super excited that having the ice skating rink in our area is gonna bring so many people, and everybody's gonna be able to experience it. This slide shows some of the inspiration from our chefs as far as food and beverage offerings. We're in the process of designing gingerbread homes around the ice skating rink, and every home will be selling either sandwiches or hot chocolate. It's gonna be really great for the kids and the adults to enjoy themselves. And again, thank you for having me today, and let me know if you have any questions.
Fantastic. Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the creativity in bringing this to our city. I realize that the photo of the ice skating rink is of somewhere else.
Yes.
But it had some sponsorship cards listed on it. And I'm really grateful that you all are looking at being able to make the price more affordable and offering the student and senior pricing and offset by sponsorship. But I was curious if you've thought about how you're advertising those sponsors. Are you planning on doing something like those placards that were in that photo, or is there something else planned?
We're actually almost done with the sponsorship deck. We will be sending it out to our clients, and we have a lot of the information already there as far as the different levels, and we already have the accounts that we will be going after.
Great, thank you. I was more curious about how will there be displays of these sponsors, because this is outside, and I'm sure you'll adhere with the city's regulations regarding signage.
Yes.
I was just curious where you'll display the sponsors.
A lot will be online on our site and our social media where we're going to be advertising, but we will also do like special events for those accounts where we have like a private event or nonprofit events after hours, and that's how we're gonna like celebrate and thank them for their sponsorship dollars.
Wonderful, thank you.
I noticed that you do have a discount for seniors. I was just wondering what that age was. That was a legitimate question.
65 plus,
65 plus?
yes.
Well, okay. You won't see me out there. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. I'm really excited to have this in our downtown. We talked a little bit about it in the last meeting, but I just want to clarify that you will be working with our events team. I think there could be a lot of collaboration between people coming to see Sandy, people coming skating and back and forth, so.
Absolutely, yes. We're very excited to partner together and make the event, both events, very successful.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, I think this is a fantastic idea, and kudos to you and your team and Bernardo for even coming up with the idea, and to be the only ice rink in South Florida is quite outstanding for the city.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
All
Commissioners.
right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Staff, did you have any more?
Just the recommendation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Comments? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 24-27.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Good luck. Best of luck to you. I know you do well. Finding sponsorships. Item 7.2, resolution number 24-31, authorizing the negotiation of a conveyance and development agreement for rehabilitation of 6 historic frame vernacular buildings with Neighborhood Renaissance, Inc.
Thank you, Mayor. And Board, Gina Baker, Senior Project Manager for the Historic Northwest. So this afternoon, we're here to ask for your authorization for us to move forward with Neighborhood Renaissance. We wanted to negotiate a conveyance agreement for the development of these wonderful properties, which, Mayor, you're very familiar with. These properties are located at the corner of 6th and Douglas. There are 6 individual frame vernacular shotgun-style buildings. That's depicted in the lower right corner of the screen here. It's 0.1446 acres, roughly 1,798 square feet, and the buildings are historically designated. And the idea is to convey them so that they're sold as affordable housing units. We posted the notice of disposal in the Palm Beach Post on May 11th with a 30-day period, which closed on June 11th of this year. We then received 2 proposals, one from Neighborhood Renaissance and another from Greenlight Evolution. Briefly, Neighborhood Renaissance's proposal included the renovation of the existing units to single-family residences, 1 or 2 bedrooms. They are intended to be owner-occupied, and the sale price point is between $150,000 and $160,000, and that roughly represents 80% of the area median income here in Palm Beach County. Their ask from the agency is to donate the land and the buildings and a development subsidy in the amount of $467,153. The second proposal is from Greenlight Evolution. Their offer was a purchase price for the property at $51,785, and they will cover the cost of rehabilitation. However, in our review, the proposer did not offer a price point, nor did they specify ownership or rental. What's highlighted here in the red is their total estimate of cost for all 6 buildings. We as staff believe that is extremely weak. They're about probably $1.5 million less than what we have estimated that it's going to cost to do those projects. With that, the timeline of the project and the next steps are, we did receive an initial unsolicited offer back on January of this year. That's what precipitated the notice of disposition, which went out in May. Today, you are now hearing our request for authorization to move forward, and then finally, we'll bring back the purchase and sales agreement or development agreement with conditions, and we hope to have that back before you within 60 to 90 days. With that, we recommend approval of Resolution 24-21. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much. I'm really excited that this day is here. These properties have been a source of a lot of issues in the neighborhood, but they are so charming. And so to have someone come to us and have the inspiration, I think, to what they could be, and also be able to add 6 affordable units to this neighborhood. I think it's going to change the street. It's going to change for the better. It's going to be safer, and it's going to have, having more neighbors is always more eyes on the street. And we also have 2 CRA properties on 6th Street, which will also be developed in the coming years. So I think it's just one by one, we're really changing the neighborhood and making it possible to have more owners. So I'm really appreciative to OJ. I see you sitting there. He has been someone that has helped me so extensively in the historic Northwest with introductions and just suggestions. And so I think we are leaving these homes in really good hands, and I'm very excited to move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll
Or
entertain.
comment.
Sorry?
So I just received some sweet potato pie, and if you missed it on Sunday, I have it here. I believe we were required to provide some refreshments.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, sweet potato pie for me?
Yeah, you can have the whole thing there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I will, if hearing no comments, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 24-31.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8.1, CRA staff presentation of proposed budgets to fiscal year 2025 for the Downtown City Center CRA and the Northwood Pleasant City CRA. Mr. Ponte?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. So we're here, we're going to present
Don't mind stating your name for the
Ana
record.
Maria Ponte, Deputy CRA Director, for discussion only the proposed budget for next year. We have 2 different presentations, one for the Downtown CRA, and includes a portion for the DDA that is going to present their work plan, and then after we can do the Norwood CRA District. So the first item that I wanted to mention is I want to say thank you to the Finance Department and Mark Minum, because they have been really, really helpful helping me especially navigate this budget cycle. Has been a little difficult learning curve for me, but I think we have a solid proposal for you today, and we are looking forward to hear your comments. But I wanted to thank them for their patience and support with us during this year. For the first one is the Downtown CRA, as just for those hearing from their homes. The Downtown CRA includes basically the area between Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard and Okeechobee Boulevard, including the area where the convention center sits and the Hilton Hotel, from Flagler to Banyan, and turning on Banyan, Flagler to Australian, and then just getting east towards Banyan, and including just the area east of the tracks on Tamarind Avenue. So it's pretty much the same area that includes the downtown master plan, but almost the same area. So within it, we have 5 districts or target areas. That is the way we allocate our budget. So our budget is basically divided by each of these target areas, and that help us identify the projects that are more important in each of them. So first, some general highlights. In terms of the revenue for next fiscal year, we have carry forward items from this year that for projects that have not moved forward as fast as we expected, but some of them are already on the works. We have 27 million on carry forward. And then we have also a funding from the bond fund that we issue on 2019, that we also have projects that are still on the works and have not moving forward as fast as expected. So we have $15 million also from that. Those funds will be carried forward to the next year and supplement the new TIF money for this year. For the TIF money, we have from the city $38 million, from the county $21 million, and then from the DDA $3 million, around that. And we have investment earnings and then lease payment. The total budget for next fiscal year is $108 million. This is substantial budget, and we have a TIF revenue increase of 8.74% from last year. That's for new increase in property values that is coming. In terms of the projected expenses, we have divided this in different items, just group them so you can see kind of the bulk of the expenditures. The project funding has been 72%, $72 million. It's 67% of the funds received are allocated for direct project funding. Then we have around 10% of the budget allocated for debt service, and the DDA work plan, 6.7%. The tax increment financing, then this is basically projects that have been approved in the past, and we have funds committed to give back to those projects, and is around 5.8% of the budget. We have innovative policing, that is 5.5% of the budget, and operating expenses, 3.38%. And then reserves in the downtown CRA, we have only 0.43% of reserve funds. That means monies that have not been specifically allocated for a particular project. That is kind of the split of the project. In summary, 86% of the funding of this year will be allocated for projects that are achieving CRA goals directly. And then I put this graphic because it helps us to identify from the funding allocated to the projects. This is a split of what are the percentages for those. So as you can see, a large percentage of the funding is allocated to the Northwest District. 43% of the project funding is going to there. But we have distribution of other projects around the downtown. 14% is allocated for the downtown core, 9% to Okeechobee Corridor, 12% to the Clear Lake District, and 8% to Brestford Park Providencia area. And then we have others that catch other minor projects. But I like it because it shows how the funding is allocated in the different areas. Clearly, the Northwest District is one of our main focus in this area, and this is related that highlights that the rest of the downtown, in terms of private investment, they have enough private investment to promote the redevelopment, and they don't need as much help as the Northwest does. Then if we go directly with each of the project target areas, we're going to start with the Northwest. That is the highest percentage of our funding. And for this one, I kind of tried to divide it. For construction projects, it's important to know that we have projects in different stages of development. So, for example, we have the Stakes and the Sunset Lounge that are both projects that are almost completed. They are on the last stages. For example, the Sunset Lounge, we have funds committed this year to finalize the interior of the building, but the exterior is done. So these are kind of the last stages of the project. The same with the Stakes is almost done. We are just doing minor last things that need to be fixed, but there's still some resources in there. Then other projects like 719 North Sabadella, and this is a picture that it doesn't show how the project is going. This is an old picture, but the project is already under construction. The funds for the construction, with the contract for construction, have already been allocated, but we have $1.2 million still allocated for additional things that may happen in the project or possibly help with the operations. We don't know at this point, but the project is already done under construction, and very soon you will see the staff bringing in front of you the notice of disposition to kind of sell the building and have a new business located in here. Other projects in different stages, the 1031 North Sabadella is a building that is a historic building. It has been owned by the CRA for quite some time, but at this point we have drawings already prepared, and they are in building permit right now. So we're working on obtaining a building permit for this project, and we hope to start construction pretty soon for the renovation of this. These will include 2 units, and it will be target for affordable housing also. Then we have other projects that are, for example, 901 North Tamarind and 800 North Tamarind. They are under design development, so we already have conceptuals, and in both cases you have approved some conceptuals, and now we are on the design development phase. So basically we have consultants working on construction documents for these 2 projects. We have other ones like the 610 Douglas that you just saw, the notice of disposition, and just starting negotiations. So that's the first step to engage a private partner and move ahead with the renovation of this project. We have the other ones like 801 4th Street, 708 3rd Division, or 620 3rd Division Avenue that are right now in conceptual phase. So this is to show you that we have different stages of development on all these projects. They go at their own pace, and different progress is made for them. In terms of infrastructure projects, we have the Tamarind Avenue that the design, it's complete for the portion from Banyan to Palm Beach Lakes. The phase 1 that includes from Banyan to 7th Street, it's almost done. We're just waiting for it to be open in August. We're just waiting for some FPL poles to be removed from the street so we can open that phase. But then we still have funding allocated for the second phase that will have to continue from 7th Street all the way to Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. Rosemary Avenue, we have funding allocated, and we are just starting right now to engage consultants to do the design. And then the last portion is lighting, that it was $1 million that has been proposed to have a new project for lighting in the Northwest neighborhood, similar to what we did this past year with the Douglas streetscape. That was very well received by the community. So it has not been identified which street, but that's the funding to move ahead with a project on that sense. Other funds include, for example, for once we have the assets, the CRA own these buildings, the Sunset Lounge on the Sticks, we have funding allocated for the opening and operations of these buildings. So for the Sunset Lounge, we have $1.5 million for opening and operation. For the Sticks, we have $135,000 for opening and operations. We have a marketing and activation and engagement. This is the events that we do in the neighborhood to promote the projects that we have, like the barbecue Brews and Blues or the Winter in Paradise, the community engagement that we do on a quarterly basis to engage the community and basically convey the projects that we are doing, and also things like the lighting in the neighborhood and that type of things. Neighborhood stabilization includes elements like landscape maintenance, garbage pickup, and that irrigation, and that type of elements that are part of all how we kind of maintain the condition of the neighborhood. And we also have grants that are for the neighborhood, and includes business incentive grants and PPP, historic preservation grants, and all sorts of different grants to promote the private engagement and renovation. We have property acquisition. We have $500,000 right now allocated for this neighborhood for property acquisition. And then we have the funding for NCAT, that is $5 million that are currently allocated on the actually the bond money. So in this particular item, staff is proposing to, considering the NCAD group has not been successful on achieving the funding that they need to build the building. That is what the $5 million was originally proposed for. The staff is proposing to reallocate these $5 million from the NCAD to transfer those to the Brestford Park area to actually advance the payment for the streetscape for Railroad Avenue. And this is in response to conversations that we have had with the the partners that we have in Norwood in the Railroad Avenue. Their project is advancing much faster than what they expected. So in the agreement that we have with them for repayment of the construction of the streetscape, there were certain timelines that they have to meet in order for the CRA to reimburse the portions of the cost. They are meeting those timelines much faster. So they have asked staff if it was possible to have early payments. So staff is proposing to reallocate these monies to the Brestford Park area. However, we just move the money. The agreement with the Nora Holdings will have to come in front of the board for approval and all that. So this is just moving the money. If they perform, we can amend the agreement. If not, the funds will still be there. And that completes basically for the Historic Northwest, we have $31 million allocated in funding for this project, again, including bond monies.
Before you move away from that, let's see if we have any questions from any of the board members. Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Anna. I'm very happy to see that we revisited the carry forward and looked at how we can better utilize those funds in today's environment in order to move projects forward. So thank you for taking that task and coming up with something that's very important that we fund now. I have a question about the grants. And can you elaborate a little bit more about how those funds will be utilized?
For the Northwest neighborhood, we have several grants that are scheduled or listed. We have, yes, hold on. We have historic preservation grants that are basically allocated for specifically properties that have historic contributing status within the neighborhood. So those are grants, we have specifically for that $75,000 allocated for that. We have $40,000 allocated for the West Palm Beach CAD. That's for operations of the support for that. Then we have PPP grants in the neighborhood. We have also events and promotion assistant grants. And then we have the Building Bridges grant. That is a grant that the city obtained to study the possibility of have a pedestrian bridge on 7th Street. So it's kind of a different type of grants. Gina, I don't know if you want to add.
Again, Gina Baker, Project Manager Northwest. So Commissioner Warren, we have several programs. The Paint, Pave, and Plant, which is one. We have the Parking Lot Improvement Grant, which is another. We have also the Facade and Exterior Improvement Grants. So, for example, the Facade and Exterior Improvement is a $75,000 grant. It's a 20/80 match. And they're available for folks to come in and ask if they want to make upgrades to commercial buildings. The Contributing Structure one is also a $75,000 grant with an 80/20 match as well. The only one that is 100% is the Paint, Pave, and Plant one, and that's a maximum of $20,000. So those funds will be used for the items that she's just enumerated, and then we'll have a pool for individuals to apply for those specific grants.
Thank you. Will any of those funds be used for the new businesses that are opening in the Northwest neighborhood as well?
Oh, I can hit on that. Yeah. So I think we have a Merchants and Assistance grant. Help me with that, Ansley. And grand opening assistance, and I believe those numbers have been tweaked. They were at what, 7,500? So one's 500 and the other one is, and the events and promotion is a $7,500 grant.
Excellent.
Follow up?
Yes. And taking into consideration, I see the Sunset Lounge opening and operations. Has that been modified over the last, taking into consideration all of the things that have come to light in the last several months? Has that impacted the use of funds or the budget number there.
I'll defer.
That number reflects what has been allocated for the project to date, so it hasn't changed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much. And I wanted to say thank you first, that I know that you've basically been wearing two hats while you're trying to fill your CFO position and taking over all of this budgeting for the year. So really appreciate all your work on that. I wanted to ask a question about Rosemary Avenue and Tamarind, just in terms of the timeline. I wouldn't want them to both be closed at the same time. So I'm just curious if it's on your radar to do them sort of not in conjunction with each other, but one after the other. Thanks. Or at different times, because I wouldn't want to have both of those roads closed at the same time.
Yes, and Commissioner, I can answer that. There's no intention to close both roads at the same time. We know that how much of an impact that would have on the historic Northwest. And really, Rosemary Avenue requires, it's in its infancy right now, and it requires design, it requires community outreach. So by the time we're ready to start Rosemary, Tamarind Avenue will be complete.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay, you can proceed, Ms. Aponte.
Okay, then if we move on to the Northwood downtown core target area. So in this area, we have the two most or three more important projects or new projects that are coming up in this area are first for construction, the 415 Clematis Street. That is the photographic center. Once the photographic center moves out, we'll have to go in and renovate the space and do tenant improvements to rehab that space to become a retail or other type of commercial activity in there. So we have allocated some funding in there for consulting professional services for the design of that. We already started the process with Song and Associates. They have done some preliminary conceptual designs of what can be done, and we'll have to move ahead with that design to determine how the space could be rehab for commercial use. More than one tenant as it is right now. So multiple tenants facing Clematis and possible another tenant on the second floor or different studies for that. So we allocated for consulting services for that, but also some funding for the tenant improvements and kind of renovations that are necessary. The other project that is a new project is the Great Lawn Play, what we call now Play Art Connect. Just for now, that's the name that we have been using, and is the proposed renovations and improvement on the visitor center and the new play area that will happen on the north side of the Great Lawn. This is a project that the CRA is working with the Art Life and includes also in our budget $250,000 for the art installation. The Art Life has, is basically, we are matching what the Art Life has, but we have included $1.6 million for consulting services for the design, but also with the, for the construction of the project. The other project that is important in this list is the transportation. That is basically funding to finalize the stopgap that we are currently working, and funding the first time of operations for next year for the proposed transportation system fixed route. So we have allocated some funding in there to cover those expenses. It has been kind of proportionally allocated between the CRA and the city. So there were some calculations done that what was the portion of the cost that could be covered by the CRA. So those $2.3 million that you see in here cover those two elements for the transportation. The other ones in here are, well, the other big number is the grants, and the grants include funding for grants like agreements that we already have with projects downtown, in the core of the downtown, that have already come and have obtained grants from the CRA, so there are previous commitments, and then additional funding for any future downtown economic development grants that we could offer. So that's kind of the bulk of the downtown core. If you have any questions for this target area.
Commissioner Fox?
Thank you so much. I saw on one of the earlier slides, I think it was about $6 million that was going towards innovative policing. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be for downtown or the historic Northwest, but I don't think I've seen it on either of these slides.
That is included on the operations, and yes, it is. We have the the expenses. We have it's $5.9 million is the request from police to cover the downtown entertainment unit and the services that they provide for innovative policing within the downtown.
Okay. I mean, I think that it's very necessary that we have that. I see them every morning when I'm walking to yoga, and I think having that addition with the extra policing downtown has made a difference in terms of people coming downtown and feeling safe at all times of day. But I know that also in the Northwest, where we have had the pilot program for the bike police, which has been really a game changer for the neighborhood. I have heard so many grateful residents that just feel like it's really turned the neighborhood around and they're all feeling safer. And I obviously want that to continue. And I know that that was a pilot program at some point that we were going to maybe bring it up for discussion again. So I just want to clarify, I guess, I'm not sure which budget that came from. I know the DDA also spoke to them earlier today. I know there's some policing in their budget. And I just want to make sure that we're, continuing to get the resources that are needed for our police to do, especially in, I think, these two kind of core areas where there's the majority of the calls, I think, in our city are coming from these areas. So if there's any additional information, I guess, I know we haven't actually looked at the city budget yet to know, I guess, how that factors in as well. But if you have any updates for us, I would appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure. So, Commissioner Chris Rug, Executive Director, we had a meeting with the chief, and we recognize, and that was one of the talking points about ensuring that the bike patrol will continue. So the 5.9 is for innovative policing, and we can have a breakdown at the meeting in September on exactly the different components, but it's been clearly understood by the CRA and police that the bike unit will continue, as well as funding the entertainment district unit to ensure that the level of service that everybody is currently is experiencing continues.
Any other questions? Okay, you continue, Ms. Fuente.
Okay, the next target area is the Okeechobee Corridor target area, and this has basically one project, and is a project for the Okeechobee and Lakeview streetscape. The last several months, you approved some initial funding that was transferred to the city for the support of the redesign of this. This is a project that we are working with the Florida Department of Transportation. They had originally proposed a resurfacing project on the corridor without major improvements. They were doing a bike lane on the street, and we worked with them to basically modify the design and accommodate a multi-purpose path similar to what was done with the Kravis Center. In the extent possible. In some areas, we're not going to be able to do as nice of a job as it was done with the Kravis, but we are doing a lot of trying to squeeze every inch we can in that corridor to be able to obtain the best quality of the space. So it will be a multi-purpose path along the corridor on Lakeview and also Okeechobee. So these $6.8 million includes $6.5 million that we are transferring to FDOT for the additional cost of doing this, and then the other $300 for consulting services that we will need to engage to help us with that kind of redesign that is happening to support the FDOT design.
Any questions on this item? Okay.
Okay, the next target area is the Brestford Park, Providencia Park target area, and this includes some grants that are $1 million in grants that were originally envisioned for business relocation grants tied to the NORA new district, but also they could be used by any new business coming along Dixie Highway in that area. At this point, nobody has applied. The funds were allocated last year. These are basically carried forward, but they are remaining there for supporting any new businesses coming in this district. Then we have the $5 million that are currently allocated under fiscal year 25 for the support of, or the payment of the Railroad Avenue streetscape. And this is where staff is suggesting to allocate an additional $5 million that will be reallocated from the NCAD that currently exists on the funding for the bond to be moved to the Brestford Park to provide the funding for advancing the payment for the streetscape earlier if they meet the deadlines. So that means that if the Commission accepts this suggestion, there will be $10 million allocated in fiscal year 25 for the repayment of the Railroad Avenue streetscape. That is for this.
Any questions on Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you so much. I'm definitely supportive of the Railroad Avenue project, but I just want to make sure I understand what is happening with the money that was reserved for NCAT.
The proposal is that the money that is currently allocated in the bond fund is $5 million for NCAT, because NCAT has not been able to complete their fundraising that they need to move ahead with the construction of a building. So those funds have been sitting in there for several years. So we're suggesting to move those ones and use them for the Railroad Avenue project that is moving ahead, actually ahead of schedule. And use it in there to repay that faster. If in the future the NCAD is able to achieve their funding, definitely we can bring back any additional changes to the budget to reallocate funding for them.
Follow-up, Mayor?
Yes.
And so if they were to achieve their fundraising goal that triggered these matching funds, as I believe is what it was, right? Was the $5 million in matching?
I think it was a matching fund, I believe, for the NCAD.
The funds were allocated in the bond. There was never an agreement that was sort of developed on the $5 million
Okay.
because there's not even a parcel of land that's been identified for their location. So the funding's been sitting there for quite a while, and through the conversations that we've had with folks at the West Palm Beach Center for Arts and Technology, they acknowledge that the $5 million needs to be spent on other items because it is tied to the tax exempt bonds. And this is an applicable use. And since the NORA folks have expressed that they're ahead of schedule, this is the most appropriate project to use it for.
Okay, great. And so if a time comes where NCAT is prepared to utilize it, they would come before us and we'd have a discussion of that? Okay, great. Thank you.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. I just wanted to add a footnote to that conversation that I believe that there is another space they're moving into in the Historic Northwest that is being funded by a private source. Is that correct? Or
That is
temporarily, at
correct. Yes, that is correct. It's 806.
Yes, no.
And 8 on
The corner of 8 and Sapodilla.
8 and Sapodilla, yes. So they are the owners of the what is called the Renaissance houses. They are Renaissance. Rosemary Village houses, sorry. They have a requirement to provide a community space. So they partnered with the West Palm Beach CAD, and they're renovating the first space of that building for them to be located in there. Actually, we met last week with the developer, and the CRA is providing some support for streetscape around the building that they have to do in compliance when they submitted for building permit for the renovation. So we're gonna be bringing in front of you a grant for the streetscape around the building, so.
But that $5 million that we set aside was to be used for construction purposes of the new space, correct?
That is correct, Mayor. It's used for infrastructure and a variety of other things that was outlined when the resolution was adopted to borrow the funds.
Okay. Is there a time at which we will be released from that obligation? I mean, how long do we need to, I know we're not reserving this $5 million, but how long are we on the hook for $5 million?
There is no agreement.
Okay.
So there is no timeline or obligation.
Because there was some suggestion that they come back to us with a plan that somehow we're obligated to spend this $5 million. We're not obligated. They can come ask for it, I guess, or
That
ask
is
for
correct.
an amount, but that decision will be made at that time. Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions on this item? Okay, proceed, Ms. Aponte.
Okay, the not the last, but the next target area is the Clear Lake target area. That the funding in this target area is basically focused on the extension of Fern Avenue, Fern Street, across the railroad tracks. So we have $7 million that are allocated for land acquisition for this project, and then $1.5 million for the design cost of that. So this is the new road that is going to go through there. There's some progress being made on both areas, so we'll see some movement pretty soon. And there is also some funding on the bond that was allocated for streetscape improvements to Tamarind Avenue between Okeechobee and Banyan, that we will link those to when the Fern Street construction project comes in.
Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. The Tamarind Streetscape Okeechobee to Banyan, I remember a few months ago there was some kind of water main issue, or maybe it was a sewer line that broke right in front of the Kravis Center. And I've never heard the update of like if that was something serious that we need to look for the future. I'm just looking at this number, 504,000. It doesn't seem like a huge number if it was, you're talking about streetscape and not in terms of like undergrounding and things like that. But I was curious if you know if there was any other kind of resolution to that. It was a water main break that happened over the weekend, and it was kind of all flooded at the corner of Okeechobee and Tamarind. And so
I don't have any information on that, Commissioner. I can find out.
I just want to make sure that if it's something that we are going to need to be looking into in the future in terms of not just the streetscape, but the actual pipes and things that we should kind of.
Yeah, that wouldn't come out of the CRA budget, though. That would come out of Public Works.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions before she proceeds? Okay, Ms. Aponte.
And then the last one is under other target area, we include things that do not belong to a particular area. We have, for example, additional funding for the downtown master plan update that the RFP was issued and is due, I think, at the end of this month. We are allocated $100,000 in additional funding for that. We expect that possibly the cost of that update could be a little higher, so we're just setting aside those monies in there. And then we have other items like property insurance, and this covers all the properties that the CRA owns in the downtown area. We have to pay for that. It also includes in here the Banyan Streetscape, that is includes bond money that we have allocated for the phase 2 of the Banyan, that is from Quadrille to Flagler. That was put on hold because we will need to redesign certain things, so we will be working that into the scale, back into the scale. That's all for the downtown CRA funding, and now we have the DDA that can present.
Anything else before she moves on to the DDA? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Commission. Mayor James. Tanika James Fayman, Executive Director with the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority. Just a quick process, our budget process, prioritizing what we've learned over the last couple months, our interlocal agreement, which is with our work plan pillars, our millage rate consideration, and then obviously our budget in this upcoming fiscal year. Our process for the timeline, obviously doing a presentation to the CRA, setting our proposed millage rate this month at the DDA board meeting, adopting our second millage, then in August refining our budget, and then coming back to you guys for an additional presentation with our interlocal agreement. In October, obviously, we begin our new fiscal year, we begin our audit process, receive disbursements from the tax collector, pay our TIF to the CRA, and then receive our reimbursement plus our second mill. Just so we can get a little understanding of our budget process, the last 3 months of our fiscal year end in September. Our operational budget to maintain is 1.3. A fiscal year ends, and then we begin our new fiscal year. During that process, We also have to make a TIF payment to the CRA of 3.6, still maintain our operations, and then also receive a tax disbursement. Some of the budget considerations we think about are adaptable changing conditions, our needs of our community, which is our residential population and our commercial businesses, working collaboratively with our businesses, the city, and the CRA, and then expanding upon the impact of new initiatives that we're implementing. On-demand circuit, which is a little over $300,000 per year, our mobility coalition, and then obviously, I think Commissioner Fox mentioned our additional partnership with the police department, which is about $600,000 for OT officers that you see in our downtown core area, as well as advocating for a community court program for those who need additional services. What we've learned through our survey data, which we do every 2 years, which is our foundation to help us identify what we do and how we do things. Some of the pros that were identified included our physical environment, cleanliness and aesthetics are significant importance, our business mix in the downtown area, and then events and activations that are a huge draw for our downtown area. Some of the cons, always at the top, is parking, which I think is just a perception that there's not enough parking or parking is too expensive, that we have a lot of traffic, lack of family-friendly destinations, and then the perception of our safety. And our most recently, in October, we did a downtown summit where we invited the community to get a little bit more engaged about what we're doing and how we're doing in the downtown area. The top things that they presented were district services and public realm were both equally important for our downtown area. Second to that was our business development and marketing, although viewed a little bit lesser, but still significant of importance. These are our 4 areas in a work plan: district services and operations, our public realm programs, business development, and marketing and public relations. Some of our target areas as we're looking forward to the next fiscal year include our brand identity, who we are and what we do not only as an organization, but as a destination in our downtown, our public realm, mobility and downtown transportation, community outreach and safety, and also community engagement, which is our placemaking programs. This is the assessed value that we recently received, that it's a little over 11% of an increase in our property value for this upcoming fiscal year. And then just a little background information on our DDA millage rate. From 1967 to 93, we were at 1 mill. In 93, we increased to 2 mills. In 2007, we went into an interlocal agreement with the CRA and the city to reduce our millage down to 1. And then most recently, in 2022, we reduced it to 0.98, and then in 2023, we reduced it additional to 0.97. Side-by-side analysis of our fiscal year from last year into this proposed upcoming fiscal year, we're anticipating a little bit, about 9% increase in our budget. And then just an overview over the last 5 years. As you can see, each year we've carried forward, minus the pandemic year, on average about 15 to 20% of our budget to carry us through into the first quarter of our next fiscal year. Some of our expenditures by category, again, we had to restructure due to the pandemic. We had to reassess and reevaluate some of our programs that we were doing in the public realm, including transportation and cleaning services. And then most recently, hopefully you've seen our new contractor block by block on the street. We began phase 1 on July 1st with our clean team, and then the second phase will begin September 1st with our pressure washing, with our final phase beginning October 1 with our safety ambassadors. District services, again, this is our public realm space, our lighting, signage. Some of the areas and challenges that we've thought about as we're looking at our district services include the rising cost of expenses, the intensive use of our public spaces. We are a downtown that operates almost 24 hours a day, and then obviously increasing scope of work. This is the district services operations budget. As you can see, the majority of that is focused on our clean team in our downtown area and pressure washing. As we go into our public realm programs, these are the I call fun and fuzzy programs that we have for our community that activate our downtown. The chess park, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and then also some of our Let's Vibe programs. And there's our first image of our Keeping It Clean downtown. Hopefully you've seen them all over, and you'll increasingly see them more over the next couple of months. Some of the challenges we thought about for our public realm programs includes the continued against rising cost, rapidly changing needs of our community due to a lot of development. We've got more people in our downtown, but a lot more residents as well. Social issues, services for those in need, and then transportation and mobility options. This is the budget for the public realm programs. As you can see, our ambassador program is the most, expensive out of this particular area at $1.2 million for our ambassadors. Business development, these are our incentive programs. These are our ribbon cuttings. Some of the things that we consider when we're looking at challenges for this particular area include we have a lot of older buildings that have large spaces, rising rental costs, construction costs, parking and traffic, and then overall perception issues. This would be the budget for the business development area, and again, most of it is going towards incentives to help rework some of the spaces and bringing them up to code. That'd be ADA requirements, electrical, HVAC system, plumbing, etc. Our marketing and public relations, this is our way of marketing of our downtown and our destination. Through our social media, which is one of the top ways that our community receives information. But some of the challenges of marketing our district obviously is the cost of advertising, and then also combating the perception of the downtown area. Our largest cost is advertising, and how we determine that is through our survey data, how people receive their information. The top 3 ways that people get their information are through social media, number 1. Number 2 would be television, and our third way would be print. So when we allocate our funding for our advertising, our PR, that's how we determine which methods and way we can communicate about downtown West Palm. Our professional services areas, studies and surveys, our accounting, our legal, audit, basic services that we have for our organization as a whole. Operations, again, very similar, our phone. The only thing that really kind of increased this past year has been our insurance in the office, and the largest amount of this budget is for our rent. Our total expenditures are a little over $10 million, and includes our personnel in the operations line item. Just so you can get a visual of breakdown of our entire budget, which I know that our staff enjoys very much, 64% of our entire budget goes to the public realm and district services. And that's it. Any questions?
Very efficient, thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Fox?
Just to say welcome. It's so nice to have you here, and I hope everything is going great. I appreciate having time with you earlier today, and I have been seeing the Block by Block team, and they're so friendly, and I love it that they have the carts, because I feel like people can automatically, associate that they're out there doing cleaning and whatever else. But I am really looking forward to having them. I think that it's one of the #1 issues with the downtown residents asking about the cleaning services, and it's so hard, like you're saying, to control the perception of everything. So controlling what we can and making sure that it looks, it's best all the time. I really am looking forward to working with them and working with you.
Thank you. I'm excited too. They're going to be downtown 7 days a week cleaning, so we're very excited about that.
Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you. Welcome as well. And I also wanted to comment on that, the aesthetics and the cleanliness and perception, because I think perception becomes reality. And, I appreciate not only the efforts that we're doing, but some of the marketing efforts to showcase the efforts that we're doing to make it a beautiful, clean place for everyone downtown. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, will they also be working, doing some of the ambassador stuff that was previously done? Or?
Absolutely. So one of the things that with Block by Block, and they've been around they've been in inception since 1937. They actually started out as a security firm, and then as they were continuing to work in downtowns, as they added more services for downtown. The exciting thing about Block by Block is that they are going to be universally trained. So the cleaning team will be trained on pressure washing. Pressure washing is going to be trained on safety ambassadors and vice versa. So they're going to be able to connect together and do the safety ambassadors. They're very friendly. They're going to know about what's going on downtown, what we do as an organization, what we do as a city. And that's something that we didn't have previously. So we're excited about that.
And they've met the representatives of EDU, so there's good communication between them and our police department.
Yes, so our officer right now, Rideau, is out of town, so they are planning to come to our August board meeting to get connected.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome. All right, Mr. Rug, is that it? Those all the budget presentations?
Mayor, we have the Northwood Pleasant City Broadway.
Oh, okay.
Which will be a little bit more abbreviated than the downtown city center.
That's fine, that's fine.
But just as impactful.
Okay, for the Norwood Pleasant City CRA, we know the area that includes the 5 districts that we have, or target areas. For this new fiscal year, the projected revenues are $3.5 million in TIF funding coming from the county and the, $3.5 million that are carried forward from the previous year. And then we have $4.4 million that will be coming in from the city and $2.4 million that are coming in from the county for TIF. Our total budget for this district will be $10,626,000. And different, and I was surprised about this one, but greatly surprised. So the TIF revenue increase in this district was actually higher than the downtown. So it's good news because that means that the district is getting value and more projects are coming in. So 10.02% increase from last year. So in terms of the expenses, for this district, we have the largest percentage is, of course, project funding. 60% of the budget is allocated for project funding. Debt service, we have 17.4% allocated for that. Operating expenses, 4.5%. Innovative policing, it's 6.7%. And then we have future for reserve projects is at this point at 10.8%. And for this one, 78% of the funding goes to achieving CRA goals in this district. In this district, you can see the distribution of the allocation of the funds is a little bit more even between the target areas. So we have Norwood Village, 32%, Curry Park has 24% of the project funding, Pleasant City has 20%, and then Broadway has 17%. The area that has the less amount of money or funding allocated is the industrial park, definitely. If we start with the target area for Pleasant City, the main items on this target area are neighborhood stabilization. So we are, the PSC security is the big allocation for this one. The pilot has been very successful and has been very well received by the community. So we're proposing to continue the funding for this project and have the security kind of as a permanent program. Then we have operations and maintenance for the Lot 23, that is the asset that the CRA owns in the neighborhood. And then we have grants for this neighborhood allocated at $300,000 that will be for any new businesses that will come in the area, but also the PPP grant that it was launched earlier this year, and it has been very well received by the community, and we're working on some grants already to provide that you will see coming in front of you very soon. The other big item in this district is the lighting project that was actually carried forward from this fiscal year. The project has not started, but it will include basically some improvements on lighting in the neighborhood. So we're right now working on engaging the consultant to identify which areas in the neighborhood will be the first phase of this expenditure. That's for the Pleasant City target area. Any questions for this area?
Any questions? Let's see.
The next target area is the Curry Corridor target area, and for this area, basically, the funding is focused on the Curry Park. We have $650,000 allocated for the Curry Park. That will be the placemaking plan, and some support for the grants that grant management the grants that we obtain for the Curry Park that needs to be managed. So that's the $650,000. Then we have $877,000 allocated for construction of the Curry Park. That is kind of some initial funding that we have in there, waiting for the bids to come in to determine if the CRA will need to try to find additional funds. And that's one of the reasons why the reserves, we left the reserves as a higher percentage for this district to in kind of waiting to see what happens with the cost of the construction for the Curry Park. And some minor amount of money for grants that, actually this is for the park, parkland on the park that has requested some additional funding for their project. Any questions for that target area?
Any questions? Okay, you can proceed.
For the Norwood Village target area, we have The main items, again, are marketing, and these are events for the activation of the street. We are going to start a new events in the district that are going to be relaunched as a quarterly events. We have also a large percentage of the budget is allocated for neighborhood stabilization. Again, it's the PSC contract, that is the security contract that we have on that on the Norwood Village area, that is 24/7 security. And again, cleaning, landscape improvements or landscape maintenance and that type of things. We have also a good portion of the funds allocated for grants. That will be business tenant improvements business, and this includes a couple of businesses that have approached the CRA already that are looking into moving to the district or have improvements on the areas, and also some improvements on parking lots. So that's the amount. And then the other funding is the $500,000 for the grant. That was a previous commitment that we had for the grant project. The good news about that one is the project is expected to break ground probably July or August. So we're getting really close with that. That is the Norwood Village. Any questions on that one?
Any questions? Okay.
The industrial park target area is a small amount of money allocated for that. It has some small amount for marketing and then a business survey and some $6,000 allocated for some grants in this district. So again, this is the smallest amount of funding allocated for this area. And for the Broadway target area, the majority of the funding is for neighborhood stabilization, for PSC security, is what the majority goes. We have allocated in this year some funding for marketing, activation, and engagement, expecting the Broadway, the redevelopment of the CRA-owned properties will start to move forward, so we need to promote those ones and advertise those ones. So that's the funding. And then we have $491,000 on budget for property acquisition, that these may be spent this year, but we have them as a carry forward, and some minor amount for grants.
President Ward, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify, because we have that loan, so that's in addition to the loan, the 491?
Yes.
Okay.
These are fundings that were allocated actually from this fiscal year. We had those $491,000 for property acquisition. They have not been used yet, so we're carried forward if they are not used by the end of the fiscal year.
Any other questions? Commissioner Fox?
Sorry, I think Chris also had a question, but no, okay. Sorry, I know you mentioned PSC in several of these slides, and I believe that their contract is coming up. I'm wondering if you can remind us if that's the case, if we have the option to renew, or if there has to be another solicitation.
Yeah, their contract expires in September, yes. So it has been determined that it's going to be extended, like kind of month by month, until we do the new solicitation. Because it will have to go out for a bid.
Any other questions? Okay.
And the last one is just the all target areas that has some general marketing and activation for the entire district. It has that includes, for example, the lighting for the entire Norwood district. It has some neighborhood stabilization. It includes some cleaning in the entire areas, and it includes the insurance for our properties. That concludes the presentation for this district.
All right. Questions, comments, commissioners, board members? Mr. Rube?
So, board members, this again was just to sort of preview the budget as a body. In the coming weeks, we will be setting up individual meetings with the commissioners to answer any additional detailed questions that you may have. And then also if there is any requests on shifting generally, in sort of a minor way, those discussions can be had too. And the plan will be to bring back the budget at the CRA meeting in September.
All right. Well, that's the last item on this agenda. So this meeting of the CRA is adjourned. We will reconvene as a city commission at 5 p.m. Thank you.